All right, guys, so here we go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and find the surface area. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up to my notes right here for my for my rectangular prism, and I'm gonna copy and paste and put those both in here, okay? All right, so what I like to do is I always like to go off to the side, all right, and I like to write down what my length is, what my width is, and what my height is, so I know that it's what's easy to substitute in, okay? And here's the thing, with these numbers right here, it doesn't really matter which one's which. So I'm going to assign this 2 as my length, I'm going to assign this 6 here as my width, and then the 3 as my height, okay? And now it's just a simple substitution. So I'm going to do 2 times my length, all right, which was 2, all right, times my width, which was 6, plus 2 times my length, which was 2, all right, times my height, which was 3, plus 2 times my width, which was 6, times my height, which was 3. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these as 3 different chunks, and I'm going to get this number, I'm going to get this number, and then I'm going to get this number, and then I add them all together, okay? So multiplying my first chunk here, all right, 2 times 2 times 6 is 24, all right, plus 2 times 2 times 3 is 12, all right, plus 2 times 6 times 3 is 36. And then to find your surface area, we add those all together and we get 72. And the label is inches squared because I'm talking about surface area. All right, let's try one more. All right, so here we go. My length, I'm going to let be 3. My width is going to be 5. And my height is going to be 8. And now I substitute in. So substituting into my formula, I'm going to do 2 times 3 times 5 plus 2 times 3 times 8 plus 2 times 5 times 8. All right, substituting in, all right, or multiplying my chunks together. So I'm going to multiply these, I'm going to multiply these, and I multiply these. All right, to get my 3 numbers, so 2 times 3 times 5 is 30. All right, plus, all right, multiplying 2 times 3 times 8, and I get 48. Plus 2 times 5 times 8 gives me 80. And now I add those 3 numbers together. And I get 158 inches squared. So the rectangular prism is not bad at all. All right, you just plug into the formula, and that's that. All right, the triangular prism is definitely a little harder. All right, and where I actually want to start on this picture, on this example, is I want to go, all right, to example 2, and I want to do the second problem. But before I do that, I'm going to come back to the top. All right, copy and paste my surface area formula for a triangular prism. And here we go, okay? So we have to do some work first before we can just substitute in, all right? Because if you remember, my big B stands for my area of the base, okay? And even though I don't have very numbers down here on the base, remember that the triangles are congruent. So what I'm focusing on, all right, is this triangle up here. And I'm going to first find the area of that triangle, okay? So if you notice, I have these 2 dimensions. I have 8 and 6, and that's going to be my base and my height for the area of the triangle, all right? So I'm going to do area is equal to 1/2 base times height. I'm going to do A is equal to 1/2 times 8 times 6, which means my area of my base is 24, okay? So coming off to the side here, my big B is 24. So you find the area of the triangle, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to find P, which is the perimeter of the triangle, okay? And if you notice on this triangle, I have that this segment right here is 8, all right? I have this segment right here is 6, but I don't really have a marking here for this segment. But what I do know is that this segment down here on the bottom triangle is the same one as up here. So I actually do have those 3 side lengths. So I'm going to add the 8, the 6, and the 10 together to get the perimeter of the triangle. And what I'm going to get again is 24. And let me tell you, that's not always going to happen. All right, the big B and the perimeter aren't always going to be the same. Okay, and then the last part of our formula is the height, and the height is how far off the ground is the prism as long as it's sitting on the triangle. And so that's going to be 4. So plugging into our formula now, I'm going to do 2 times big B, all right, which is 24, all right, plus my perimeter, which was 24, times my height, which was 4. So multiplying straight across, so 2 times 24, you get 48, plus 24 times 4 gives you 96. And then if you add those together, you get that the surface area of that triangular prism is 144. And my unit is centimeters squared. Okay? Now I'm going to come back to example 2, and we're going to do the exact same thing, but the problem here is that it's now on the rectangle, okay? And that's hard because we have to picture it as if it is on the triangle, all right? So let's start by finding our big B, all right? And remember, our big B is the area of the triangle. So if you look at this blue triangle right here, all right, we have these 2 dimensions that the height is 3 and the base is 4. So I can find the area of that triangle by doing A is equal to 1/2 times 4 times 3, and that means that my A is 6. So if I come straight down here, I know that my big B is 6. Now the perimeter, we're going to do the exact same thing in the fact that I know that this segment right here is 5, all right, and then that segment is the same as this segment right here, all right, which is also going to be 5. So if I add up all those side lengths for the triangle, remember it's just the perimeter of the triangle, I'm going to add 3 plus 4 plus 5, which means that my perimeter of that base is 12. Now the hard part here is the fact that, remember, I have to visualize, all right, this triangular prism as if it was sitting on the triangles. So if I could just really quickly sketch what I'm looking at, all right, what I have is this triangle here, all right, and then I'm going to just copy and paste it real quick, put it right above it. The height is how far off the ground it is. So if I almost just repositioned, all right, this picture, where now this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this 2 right here, all right, so this segment right here of the 2, all right, represents this segment right here, all right, how high off the ground it is. So my height in this example is 2. So now plugging in, I'm going to do 2 times 6 plus my perimeter of the base, which is 12, times my height of 2. So multiplying together, I get 12 plus 24, which means my surface area is 36 meters squared. And there we go. All right, that's going to be the surface area of a rectangular prism and then the surface area of a triangular prism, okay? I'm going to pause there, and then I'm going to go ahead and come back, and I'm going to go over example 3 and example 4.